Welcome to another episode of Meller Notes Podcast. My name is William Meller, and I'm glad to have you here for another conversation, another moment to reflect on topics that can be relevant to your career, to your personal and professional development, to the way you're leading your teams, and perhaps the way you're managing your business. Today, I curated two different topics to discuss with you some changes or some perspectives that are relevant to the way we are structuring our organizations and making decisions when it comes to management models, using technology, and how and where technology should, could, or perhaps how we can even decide whether to use it or not in your organization in the best way possible. In the first one, I would like to talk a little bit about why sometimes is actually wrong the wrong decision to actually move forward with some kind of technology like AI, for example, if you don't even know what you're actually going to do with that technology in your company. Let's talk about that. It is not the technology or AI or any kind of solution that is failing at your company. It's actually the other way around, is the order in which you decided to use the technology in your company before even knowing what is the problem that you are trying to solve. Yes, that's exactly the topic I would like to bring and perhaps bring some light for you to think about next time you are making a decisions to buy or to bring some kind of new technology like now artificial intelligence coming to your organization. Deloitte published now in the beginning of 2026 a big report that is called the Global Human Capital Trends. They made that with Oxford Economics. They have many different interesting perspectives on this report. We covered some of them already in this channel, and it's probably one of the largest yearly report that have a strong picture of work and how things are moving around different companies in the world. It's made with more than 10,000 leaders around the world. It's like 90 countries included. So it's big research. It's a research we can trust in the data because it's global, it's well conducted and organized. With that said, what is very interesting is that the base finding is that 7 out of 10 leaders say that their competitive strategy for the next 3 years, so for the short term, it's to be fast and agile. So they are saying that this is specifically what they want. So those leaders see the words fast, agile, and then some other words are connected with that, like productivity, increasing performance. And of course, right now it's quite tentative to say that AI is being a kind of normal answer to all those kind of problems, right? And in the study from Deloitte, they bring a problem coming with that. They say that senior leaders are reporting around 60% of them that they are deciding to go with the technology first, and they bite it too. They bring this technology to their organization, and then they start mapping and designing how things should work with the business. The problem is this is exactly the opposite on how the thing should work when it comes to solving a problem. Once you know what is specifically the problem, the issue that you want to solve, where you are right now, and to where you want to go, this is the moment that you decide to have a tool, a technology, or it can be AI nowadays, to bridge this gap and help you to solve this problem. So, what your today's picture means, what are your KPIs, what productivity means to you. When it comes to increasing productivity, when it comes to come from here, to the level one to the level two, that is like the superior level for in your performance, whatever it means. What exactly is the KPIs and the results that we expect to see? Like taking the software industry, for example, what exactly it's improving and being fast and agile for you? Is that just building more code? Is just building more features? Or is that making those things with more quality, with more happy customers? What exactly is the problems and the answers that you are expecting in your strategy. Once you know that, very well designed, as I said, is the moment to think, reflect, and then make a decision on what kind of tool it can be. I mean, again, we nowadays are using AI because everyone is talking about that. But 20 years ago, it was ERP. And perhaps many years before that, it was industrialization with robotics in the factory. So it can mean many things, but if you don't know exactly what you want to solve and why, when where you want to go with your clear business strategy, the technology will not help you. Technology alone will not solve your problems. And of course, technology alone will not fail your strategy. And that's exactly what the report is trying to tell us with the data, with clear numbers. If you bring AI to your company just because everyone else is doing that, maybe your board is pressuring you to have this technology implemented, but you don't even know why and where you're going to use that, you can actually create more problems instead of solving what you have. It's a very clear thing from the data, and there's even a part of the report that is saying that organizations that install the technology first are around twice as likely to miss the expected return compared to those that do the thinking and the planning first. So the tool will be the same. The way you use that, of course, will be different, but the tool will be the same for all the companies. What is going to make your company different? What is going to make your strategy work? Is have a clear strategy from the beginning. And that's why I'm saying that it doesn't mean that you are going to have, you know, increase or decrease in your productivity, in your performance, or making things faster or slower just because the technology was implemented. It can be actually the opposite. It can backfire because if you have the expectation that implementing AI in your flow, you're going to produce more quality, but you don't build the boundaries and all the guidelines for your employees to do that, focusing on improving the quality, maybe people will just start to producing more and more in quantity, and quality will actually decrease. So you need to understand that technology alone will not fail. The order is the most important thing. Once you understand what you want to solve, what is the problem that your company is trying to solve, the tool will be a natural answer. And the pressure, of course, for speed, for being more agile, for being faster in your business, this will continue. And if you're just trying to accelerate by skipping some important steps on defining, designing your strategy, defining the work, defining what you want to do with your company, your business in the coming years, there is a strong chance that technology will just, as I just said, backfire and create more problems internally to you. The two, the technology, and AI in this case, is not a shortcut. It needs to be a clear and a natural way to solve the problems once you know what problems you're trying to solve. With that, I also want to bring another perspective on this that is like the part of designing the work. Many companies forget that designing the work, like designing the process, who approves what, who is going to be responsible for what, is actually one of the most important things connected. Maybe that part and data are the most important things together before you do any AI implementation. We discussed in this channel already all those impressive number of cases and projects that are failing using AI just because the company doesn't know which kind of problems they are trying to solve, what kind of results they're expecting, what is the data they are going to use to get how to improve their business, whatever it means. And of course, because they don't know what KPIs they are trying to improve. Again, back to the software example, I think this is a very clear one. You implement AI, you bring that to your engineers, and then you expect that things will just start improving, but they don't have the guidelines from you, the strategy. What is expected? Is that expected that with AI we are going to improve our pipeline of work, that we are going to make our work more automated, we are going to increase the quality by having a better and improved test pipeline implemented with more automated test cases? What exactly is expected from them? If that is not clear, maybe one engineer will focus on quality, another one will focus on frameworks and pipelines to improve the things that are happening before the coding or after the coding. Other engineers will just use that to produce more code and more features. So if you don't have the guidelines, people will just start running different directions, not even knowing what is expected. You're going to spend more money, you're going to spend more time, and you're going to be frustrated because without any strategy to achieve, nothing at all will be achieved. And maybe you're going to increase even more your problems. Great. Now, I think we are ready to move to the next topic that is still connected to AI, but now more focused on leadership. How AI is actually affecting many positions for managers. We've been discussing a lot recently about cuts and layoffs for middle managers, but we have some new data that is refreshing the discussion with a kind of interesting perspective. Companies are planning to sacrifice many middle management positions. Actually, many companies are already doing that. We've been discussing a lot about the great flattening, that is basically companies removing many of the layers, management layers, and trying to be more flat, reducing the level of managers needed for the communication. And with that, we have, of course, many layoffs being announced. We've been discussing quite a lot about that recently in this podcast. But we have some new data that is showing that this is, yes, happening, and this is maybe helping the companies to achieve some of those cost numbers in the short term. But there's another thing connected to that, that is the trust from the teams. Is that increasing or decreasing because of those movements? And that's a little bit what I want to discuss with you on this topic. Companies are cutting, as I just said, and cutting many middle management positions, and they are using those money they are saving to invest more on AI. And this is not only a projection anymore. This is actually happening. This is data. We have data showing that many companies are reducing. We have the number of managers around the companies dropped already a lot. Just in the past year, if we compare 2025 and 2026, the numbers we have from Live Data Technologies and Wall Street Journal that were reported, it dropped around 6%. So it's a quite huge drop from one year to another in management positions. And of course, Gartner is saying that by the end of 2026, the projection is that more companies are going to cut or even reduce around half of their management positions or management roles because of AI. The explanation for that is basically that AI is supporting to replace many kind of the job part of a manager that is more bureaucratic. So it's not the people management part, but all the other things that come on the side, like project reporting, project status tracking, KPI management, all those things that can be automated. Many companies are trying to automate, and for that they are cutting managers. But basically, they are not cutting the need for having those kind of people that connect what is coming from the strategy with the teams. What is happening, and we also talk about that, is that uh, managers are basically having more and more people to be responsible for. If we have before one manager with 10 people and another manager with 10 people, now we have one single manager with 20 people. And of course, with that, they have less time or less time for attention to all the people that they have because now they have the double. And then you think, okay, this is another story about cutting costs, and this is what happened every different cycles in the work history, right? And yes, from one perspective, that's true. If you come come to like 100 years ago and start looking decade by decade, you're going to see that those cycles, they are quite common. Companies cut some positions and then they hire again, and then we have more managers in some periods, less managers in some periods. They have investments moving around. This is not like completely new, those kind of movements. But what we see right now that is bringing some interesting perspective on this reflection on middle management cuts is two big independent surveys made by different companies. They are going to the same direction when it comes to trust. The first research is from PwC, and they did a big research with almost 50 countries included, thousands and thousands. It's more than 50,000 workers that they were listening. And basically, the main conclusion from this report is that around 70% of people are much more motivated and engaged and therefore more productive when they feel a very strong connection with their close leaders. So the direct manager and the managers right after that in the layer, they are responsible for 70% of the motivation of an employer inside the company. Of course, there are many other factors, but the research is showing that people are they tend to stay in the company and trust on their decisions and trust on the movements when they also trust on their closer managers. If and for that, they need to have a close relationship with those managers. They need to have attention from those managers. The another research is from Randstad and is the same direction, 35 different countries, thousands of workers, and it is showing that the trust in the senior leadership, so the top leadership in the companies, is reducing a lot recently. According to them, in the last 3 years, it reduced like it quite dropped significantly, while the trust in their close managers, their direct managers, has been increasing quite a lot as well. Of course, the report even mentioned that there is a lot of things related to like remote work. They now have more connection with the close managers and sometimes not even know that much about the senior leadership as before. But the most important thing here is, of course, it's clear from both reports and from the surveys that for motivation and engagement and therefore productivity, a good connection with the close manager is important. But how this is going to happen if before the manager had 10 people to take care and now they have 20, 30, maybe more? That is exactly the concern and the reflection I want to make with you right now. If you lead a small team, first of all, you need to understand that you are responsible and have a very, very, very important voice from the company strategy to this team. I mean, the team will trust you if you explain well why decisions are taken, what is the strategy, what needs to be done. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you have this close connection with your team, understanding that their differences, how they can be in a good way used in different projects, and therefore the more you understand the people in your team, the more they will trust you as well. But for the companies here, the great concern, and this is the concern that I want to bring that I want you to bring with you after this reflection, is with this great flattening, with all those cuts, how the company is making sure that the human side of the management role of the leader is to stay in the role, and they know exactly why they are bringing AI to help those managers. Because in one side, we have all the bureaucratic work, all the administrative tasks that the manager has to do, like control the time reporting, do the reports, manage the calendar, all the tracking, all the status of projects, manage risks, all those things. AI can for sure support. But then we have the human part, the negotiation with the employees, the negotiation of like dates and when something will be done. The human connection itself, like understanding their employees, understanding what they are good at, what they are not good at, how they can produce more depending on what they are working on. Those are the kind of things that AI will not replace. And this is the main message for you as a manager. You need to understand that if your main reason to stay in the role that you are. It's because you do all those bureaucratic things well. Maybe it's a moment to you to reflect on your career because for sure AI is here to have a look on what you're doing. But if you understand that your talent it's on the people side, if you are good on connecting a team, helping them to solve conflicts, helping them to grow together, to make sure that one team together is much stronger than some of the different parts, then your talent is in a moment that can be for sure highlighted because you are very needed. You should not be concerned in this case. You should be learning. You should be trying to use AI much more in your normal day because you're going to free up a lot of time to be a better manager and therefore a better leader for the people around you. So bring this concern and this reflection inside your company because you have the responsibility to make sure that those big cuts, those big layoffs are being done in a good way, but also don't forget to also be prepared. You have the responsibility for your career. If you are in a management position, you have a big chance right now to understand how you can transform yourself, transform your role, and even drive how things should be in this new world for managers and leaders. Great. And with that, that is the reflection I want to do today. Only two topics. I believe that a good content curation is not about bringing a lot of stuff to you, but actually bringing just the best of that, right? That is my role here. And please keep coming with the feedbacks, what you like in those episodes, what you don't like. And I'll be glad to always be reading and trying to improve this for you. That was Meller Notes Podcast. See you in the next episode. Bye.